Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. And I have become recently aware that we actually do, ladies and gentlemen, have a lot of children, a significant number of young folks that do watch us. So we do welcome boys and girls and children of all ages. We are I'm personally trying to keep things a little bit cleaner because we know we have young ears, and we want to be kind to each other, and we want to be nice to each other, and we want to be respectful. So that's what we're trying to do above all. I'm so happy to be here with my good friend and my partner, not in crime, but my partner in changing the world, Mr. R. Wayne Steiger. How are you today, my friend?
I am well, my friend. And yourself?
I'm doing great, Wayne. And this morning I woke up at 3:21, and that's significant because it's a 6, and 6 is the number of man.
Yes.
And I believe I woke up at 3:21 for this specific purpose. I woke up, Wayne, and I did something that is amazing. I made my spiritual last will and testament.
Interesting. Explain how that works.
Well, you know that we have, of course, being a good businessman and financial expert as you are, always recommend for people to have a last will and testament for the disbursement of their worldly goods when they leave this world.
Yep.
Sandra D'Angelo, our common friend, and I'm proud and happy to say my sweetheart, came up with what I think is one of the most dramatic spiritual discoveries of the past 25 years. She said, we take care of our worldly goods, we take care of our earthly goods, we take care of what happens to this body. Why don't we ever have a will that addresses what we want to do spiritually after we leave this life? How do we want our loved ones to respond to our death? We should appoint a spiritual next of kin, a spiritual executor, to assist us in formulating and enabling ourselves to do what we want to do after this life. Have a plan for after this life, articulate it, have someone agree with you on it. And that puts you, I believe, in the position where when you leave this life, you're divine, you're sovereign, you're free, you're able to evaluate the options that are open to you, and you're able to choose them of your own volition, not to be driven, pushed, shoved, captured, or dictated to by any being, entity, or any other presence, divine, sovereign, free, doing what you want to do. I think it's going to transform our world. And I did it tonight at 3:21, this morning at 3:21, thanks to Sandra D'Angelo for receiving what I think, again, is one of the most profound spiritual discoveries of the last quarter century.
Well, I know over on my channel, I have lots of lawyers that listen. You know, I'm putting together, and it probably won't be this year, probably be early next year. I'm moving forward with the Sapien Summit and reaching out. Yes. Reaching out to people like Sovereign Key and others to put this Sapien Summit together. I'm going to try to get political push on this as well, trying to get as much as we can, because your point, what Sandra D came up with, number one, I think you should get an attorney and get that copyrighted, and so you guys can get it laid out.
You just said you should get an attorney?
You should get an attorney, yeah.
I mean, you don't know how on it you are. You don't know how in the synchronicity that's blowing up around us right now. You are a true empath, my friend. You're under the spout where the glory comes out.
Well, I'm under the spout of some. Sometimes I don't know if the water hose is catching, but seriously, the purpose for the Sapien Summit is this. It's time that I was out about yesterday, had a chance to meet with lots of people. Word is getting out about what we're doing. It's amazing where I'm going, and then people are aware of this. The point is this, is that I got into a rather in-depth discussion with a group, and I said, you know, how do you see yourselves? Now, there were a lot of different races in there, and each one identified themselves to whatever particular point that they identified with. And I said, here's the problem. We're all sapiens here, and we've lost that. And I believe that this Sapiens Summit is just what you have done here. I think that is spot on. I think it should be also a declaration, a treatise by all sapiens to all gods, that they must manifest themselves and be held accountable for what they have done to our species. Now, one or two things are going to happen out of this summit is that we will have what I call the Magna Carta for sapiens. And this is to begin to awake out of this sleep, whatever you want to call it, and begin to understand that if there is a God, and I'm not denying that there is not, but it's time that we grow up as a species and begin to hold everyone equally accountable, gods and sapiens. There should be no above, no beneath. It should be on a level playing field. And that's the purpose of this, declare our sovereignty.
Wayne, how would you feel with that in mind if I were to share with you that in response to some of the things that I've done and said and some of the personal work that I'm doing and people that I'm close with, how would you feel if I said that I have been contacted by some of what we would call the ancient ones? I don't like to use the word God anymore, but I've been contacted by some of the old gods, and they've said, look, we agree with you. You've been given a bad deal. We've all been sold a bad deal. We're being oppressed just as much as you are. And it's time for a review of the leadership. And we're willing to help you go before the one that's reigning now and try to talk some sense into this being. But if not, we're also willing to work with you in a coup d'etat if it should become necessary.
You said something. I'm going to write that down. I had never taken the perspective that an ancient spirit would be oppressed, held down, great wisdom even.
Absolutely.
That's telling. Wow.
I must say the reason for my attire is I am sitting out on a beautiful veranda in the Ballast Point area of South Tampa, enjoying a beautiful morning. So I apologize for my rather casual attire, but I was so relaxed, Wayne, that I didn't realize I was still wearing a tank top until the show came on.
You know, the most awakened people I know don't wear pants.
Well, normally, Wayne, I don't wear pants when we're on. Today I do happen to have shorts on. I am barefoot.
Oh, now that cracks me up.
99% of the time when you see me on camera, you don't want me to stand up. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Last time I had Dr. Miller on, and he gets on there. He says, "Well, I'm not wearing pants," and I said, "Okay, I got it." And he gets up.
Why do you feel compelled to share that information?
I don't know. It's there's wisdom to it. I'm telling you.
It's kind of like the mullet, Wayne. Remember the mullet?
I do. Yeah.
Well, this is business on top, party on the bottom. It's the same thing.
Well, there is a thought that most of the thought comes from that region to begin with. So, so I remember we have to keep this on a G-rated format. But in any case,
comment, Wayne. Suppressed ancient ones may not be suppressed if they'd had a spiritual will in place.
Spot on. Spot on.
3 guesses who made that comment.
I don't know.
Sandra D. Andrew.
I was going to say. I think that is very prevalent. We're missing something here. I couldn't sleep last night. I'm having these very weird dreams, and they're not making any sense to me. They're just strange.
Because you're popping into 5D, Wayne.
Well, whatever it is, it's I swear all the trips that I took on LSD has prepared me for this, because I don't find it unsettling. What I am observing is just stepping back going, that's odd. But what do you do with that?
Whoa.
Yeah, that's about it. Hey, dude, it's all right, man. Peace.
And the name in the words of John Spicoli.
Whoa. Exactly. Whoa.
Wayne, I couldn't. I did a little video yesterday, and I had some weird experiences. And what I've discovered, and I don't know if you've discovered it yet, but I guarantee you're there, that over the last 6 weeks to 2 months, I have popped from 3D to 4D to 5D, back to 3D, and now straight to 5D. And it was by doing my spiritual work, doing my shadow work, doing my dark night of the soul work, and also by doing my physical work, bringing my physical body into my subjection and into health, so it becomes a clear channel. And in my case, I never thought you'd hear these words come out of my mouth. The thing that popped me into 5D was the arrival of a tremendous twin flame love connection, popped me right into 5D. And Wayne, I'm not convinced that you and I right now, what people are viewing, I'm not convinced that what people are viewing are not 3D avatars of people that are already existing in a 5D reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I had this thought this morning that there is a transition. I think the proper word is transmutation.
It's alchemy.
Yeah, there is something taking place, because I don't know about you, and Sandra's right there next to you. What we should I sensed it. In fact, I sensed that she's literally about 3 feet, maybe I could say 38 inches, 39 inches.
I'll bet it's exactly 38 inches. So she's been up here going.
That's the other thing that's happening. My brother came into town and saw him, and it's strange. I mean, you start getting these impressions, and, I'll tell you how I interpreted it at first. It's like, well, I don't want to be judgmental. Where did that thought come from? How do I know that that's happening to that end? And, those are the things. But these are the impressions that are coming, and it's pretty weird.
And Wayne, you made such a great comment. I think you uncovered a great truth. And we're coming at it from two different positions, but or two different places. We're arriving at the same position. You're talking about uniting sapiens, that there shouldn't be any difference, in making the gods that are responsible for the problem stand up and take notice. And I'm saying some of the gods that have been done wrong want to join with the sapiens. So it will truly be a sapient. It will be a whole, maybe a whole entity conglomeration.
The word wisdom came in when you were talking, and that is what we have been seeking, is that wisdom.
That's right.
Wow.
So not only will there not be separation between sapiens anymore, Wayne, but there won't be separation between the ancient ones and the young ones, because we're all coming to the place where we can move together.
Now I'm getting the electrical buzz here, because I think that is where the blending of the two comes together. And maybe that's what's been missing in this ascension, this big event that people keep on anticipating, in wanting. Maybe that's what it is that we truly long for, is this reuniting.
Wow. There is a longing within the soul of the sapien.
Yes.
Knowing that something's missing, knowing that something isn't right, knowing that something's incomplete. And we've always kind of been taught by our 2,000 years of indoctrination in Christianity, and many more thousand years into monotheistic religions, at least 6,000 years.
Yeah, at least.
We've been pushed into this idea of, oh, well, you know how we used to say, Wayne, there's a God-shaped hole in everybody's heart. No, there's a hole that's waiting for you to realize that you're a God, that you are divine, you are sovereign, you are free. And it's not what we thought it was. That emptiness, that lack that we feel, is a call towards brotherhood, not only with fellow sapiens, but also with the ancient ones, with our ancestors, with our gods and elders of old. It's a reunification of sapiens from the beginning to the end, Wayne.
I think it is.
Outside of space and time.
Well, if the spirit exists at all, it has to exist outside of space and time.
Or it's not the spirit.
Yeah. So
it's so amazing the things that can happen to you, because I may have taught against twin flames. I know I laughed at it, poo-pooed the idea, thought it was silly, thought it was stupid. Got a great friend named Cliff Desmond. He always talks about it. I laugh at him. But not only did I experience it, not only am I living in it, but the incredible manifest power of pure love has shown me, I believe that it's got to be the most powerful force known to creation. It's the superpower of the gods. And is it not love that wants us to bind together? Is it not love that wants us to remove separations? And in the removal of the separations, we have synergy, which means that the result is greater than the sum of the parts. And it's love, Wayne, not maybe the way we think about love, but it took, a little, 5'3", 110-pound girl to walk into my life to open me to the reality of the immensity and enormity of the universe.
Well, she was the neuron that you were needing to balance out the positive and the negative.
Yeah.
And, the thing that, as much as I don't read the Bible anymore, there's only the greatest passage that I have ever put to memory. I got a lot of it to memory, but was definitely 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8, what love is.
Right. Which, and by the way, Paul jacked from the master.
Yeah, and I still have it right here. I took all the scriptures out, and there's no reference to it, but it's a reminder for me each day to understand what that vital force is. Right. I get away.
Don't all of those attributes summarize what a true deity or divinity would be and how they would act?
Bingo. So how could you have this God? Go ahead. You and I are tracking.
The emphasis of the one we're under now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's serious mind coitus when you compare this. I was talking to a group yesterday, and they said, they watched the show here, and they said, you really come down on God. And I said, whoa, time out. Which God are we talking about here? And they said, well, the one that the United States worships. I said, okay, now that's an interesting point of view. The one the United States worships. And I said, okay, I'm going to take it that we're talking the Christian God here. Yes. Okay. And I said, well, Matthew, is it on the Sermon on the Mount, or when he was on Matthew 22, where he says, if a man so much looketh at a woman and lusteth in his heart, he has already committed adultery.
It's not the Sermon on the Mount.
Okay. So that would be probably the 22nd, 23rd chapter. Anyway, I said, so what we're being taught here by the master is that the thought of this focus taken in the wrong text will actually be the same effect if you had actually had intercourse. Yeah.
Wayne, how long have you been calling him the master?
It started a couple of years ago.
It's fun. I've never heard you say that. We never talked about it. Yeah. And this week or last week, I realized that I'm not even using the Christ anymore. I'm using the master.
Yeah. It's not the Christo. This is, I think that these words transcend sapiens spiritual level.
They mean things.
They do. They do.
The master, not in the sense of we're a slave. He's a master.
No.
He's the master in the sense of the sensei, one who has mastered the teachings and is passing them on to others without cost or price.
Yes.
And receiving the mastery that's being handed down from those that have gone before us, and we're honoring the way less traveled. And what we're motivated to do is to give it out to other people. And the purpose of becoming a master yourself is to make others masters.
Exactly. When years and years ago, my first profession was a drywall finisher. Got into the union. I went through an apprenticeship program, went through a journeyman's program. And after you have been a journeyman for about 20 years, you can actually get in to become a master carpenter, a master painter, a master electrician. It's the same way spiritually. And I think that that's why the psychic deities suck us off into these off directions, because if we were just left alone, I do believe we would find our path. I really do, as sapiens.
I do. And wasn't it Zig Ziglar? I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, the best way to be successful is by helping make as many other people as possible successful.
Yes. And to go along that, Earl Nightingale, Brian Tracy, a lot of the...
Tony Robbins, Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when I was a road warrior, back in my sales days, that's all I listened to was, Brian Tracy, Earl Nightingale. It worked.
Wayne, you and I used to ride down the road in our cars listening to cassette tapes.
We did.
Tony Nightingale.
Oh, yes. I was a Gold Star member. But didn't it help us though? I mean,
it did help us. I was just saying that.
Yeah.
You laugh and you chuckle. It has an effect. It's one of the reasons why we are where we are today.
I really do believe that. I really do. And I know that we're on a sense of something great here. So here's what the thought I wrote down. It's the only thing that was coherent. Thought impacts matter.
Thought impacts matter. Well, I know that just from a purely scientific view, that's true because a particle under observation will act differently than it does when it's not under observation.
Yes. A particle or a wave.
Mm-hmm.
It's that. So I'm excited. At times I get kind of like this heavy feeling because if you look around you, there are just really lots of angry people out there. And I'm trying to think, how do we reach those people? How do we help them? One person I saw just road rage. I mean, the woman in front was driving according to the laws that was posted, but this person felt that the person wasn't going fast enough and almost took out 3 other people in whatever display. And I'm just thinking, how do we get that message out, Jeff?
Well, and I think that we do all we can. At the end of the day, as one of my old mentors once said to me, he said, Jeffrey, God helps those that helps themselves is not in the Bible, but it could be. And at the end of the day, the deities are going to help. Oh, I was told a beautiful story, and I wanted to share this with Sandra, so this is even better. I was told this story yesterday by a fellow who is a high priest in Triskelion Wicca, and he told me, here's how the divine helps humans. Pretend that you're on the shore of a big, huge lake, and you have to go to the other side. If you ask the gods, transport me across this lake. I don't care if you're doing the lesser banishing ritual, the pentagram. I don't care if you're sacrificing the fattened calf. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to laugh at you. If you build yourself a raft, say, cause the wind to blow so I can get across the lake, they're still going to laugh at you. If you put a sail on that thing, and still going to laugh, but if you get in that boat and you take an oar and you row your butt off and you row 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 to the point of exhaustion, you've done all that you can possibly do. You're stuck in the middle of this lake and you think that you're going to die and you call out to the divine. Then, after you've done all you can do, they might send a breeze to get you to the other side. But the divine has no time for the lazy. The divine has no time for those that won't do for themselves. And if you want to get to 4D, 5D, guess what, cousin? You got to be in the doing business if you want your business to be booming.
I like that. That is very profound. There's too many lazy people. And so get this. In the UK, and now I hear it's going to be in the United States, they're taking out analog clocks.
Really?
Because, yeah, you don't want to know why? The students can't read it anymore.
We've become so smart that we can't read a clock.
Yes.
We've become so smart that we can't write in cursive.
Yes. What is this saying?
All we're trying to do is build a better slave.
Bingo. Is this oppression? They think it's progress, but I'm here thinking, oh, my. We got a problem here, Houston. They can't read a clock.
See it.
I mean, this is scary. I mean, this is truly troubling that we got a generation that's coming up. We have a grandbaby, Lydia, beautiful child. But we're sitting here thinking, what is she going to grow up into?
Absolutely. Wayne, our only hope is in the children. And I want to say this, and I know it sounds gratuitous, but Sandra is at like 775 subscribers right now, doubled in a month. I would ask everyone a personal favor to go to her website and to subscribe to get over 1,000 subscribers by her birthday on May 27th. Yeah, because I love her. Yeah, because she's cute. Yeah, because of all that. But mainly because if you go to that site, it's going to change your life. And there's a video on there that everyone as a parent or a grandparent simply must listen to. It holds the keys, the salvation of our future. And what's the video called, Sandra?
Empower our children.
Empower our children. You have to watch that video. And if you will do what is in that video with the kids and the grandkids in your life, we will change humanity within a single generation. I guarantee it. Wayne,
That's
I'm learning so much
do.
more from her than she's learning from me. I promise you that.
Well, that's destiny. That's that path that I'm glad you all hooked up on it.
But you got to go to Sandra D'Angelo, subscribe. And if you'll go and subscribe, let me know you've subscribed at newcosmicknowledge@gmail.com. I'll be glad to give you a free ebook from my collection.
And when I post this on my channel, the same thing. So we'll definitely get the message out there, no doubt. So
don't make us do a Jerry Lewis telethon on the 20th.
By the way, just to let you know what we did for Warrior Princess, we just blew past the goal. I mean, we left that in the dust. So
please email me, Wayne, on how to support that.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
She is, and it tells me that we are really growing. We really are. It tells me that we're getting people that are looking, I think, for an alternative. And the best thing I can tell them is that this is an alternative that at least you'll learn.
Wayne, we need people like Warrior Princess, because guys like you and I, our heads are so high in the clouds and we're not really connected to what most people call reality. And it's easy for us to forget that there's real people in the real world with real problems, and we need real angels like Warrior Princess to help dummies like us realize that there's other things that need to be talked about than these high and lofty spiritual things. Yeah. It's important, but it's also important. It's like the master said, if you say to somebody, be spiritually blessed, get into 5D, learn how to do this, learn how to do that, but the brother or sister is hungry, cold, and naked, you're not really helping them.
No, we've got to, they hijack the message. They hijack the means by how the process is supposed to work. But I say by process, it's done, I think, in all different ways, whether it's politics, religion, even music. They hijack the music. I was thinking about this today. They've got all the old bands, the bands that I grew up with, that are still out there touring because they're considered the super bands. And the problem is there's no talent coming up behind them to measure to it.
But Wayne, how many Billy Idols can there be? Come on, brother. He's better than ever.
Listen, I miss David Bowie, and just Tom Petty. But
I mean, think about when we were growing up, Wayne. We're pretty close in our age. We had Aerosmith, we had Foreigner, we had, McCartney and Wings, we had Bob Seger. You could go on and on and on and on, and there's not 3 of those that are in the world today. But these were guys that really, literally had to be able to sing and had to be able to play. Now they got this thing called auto-tune. They could make you and me a star if they decided they want to. Freddie Mercury writes Bohemian Rhapsody by himself in 15 hours. Beyonce has 14 writers to put, if you want it, put a ring on it. And they said the same thing 57 times.
I know. Oh, my goodness. So what do we got? This
that's come into us spiritually.
Yeah.
We all want to ascend, but we want somebody to do it for us.
And that's the problem. They won't study. And we see it in the chat comments. We know, I have to say that the trolls are really finding out. Sorry. I just saw TL Clark saying, you guys make me feel really old.
That's because we are really old.
Listen,
I will be 55 years old on the 23rd.
I know. I got your birthday down here.
On the 23rd, which is 5. 3 5s in this month for me. Interesting.
Change is coming, brother. That is change. Change is upon you.
My life is about change right now. And I've always loved change. Now I really love change because, boom, baby. I mean, I every day I wake up and I'm like, and I really mean this. Every day I wake up and I lay there and I say, is this real or is this a dream? I literally ask myself that because, Wayne, every dream I've ever dreamed has come true 1,000 times. And I am so thankful to the people that subscribe to this channel. I'm so thankful to the people in my life. I'm so thankful to Sandra D'Angelo. I'm so thankful to you and Rex and Heidi and our circle of friends. If I was any happier, I would have to have, what's that thing when the cells split? I would have to become twins.
Yes.
Yeah. We all know one.
It's called mitosis.
Mitosis, yes.
That's what it's called. So I had a concept of a conversation. I was actually talking with Jennifer, and we were getting into this conversation, and I thought you would be a great person to expound on the thought on this.
I can do some expunging too if you need
I know. I was going to say Freudian slip. What can I say? So the concept that we're born into hell and that our journey through this life is actually a representation of what the master said hell was like, and that when we come out to the end is going to determine whether we successfully made it through or we're going to come back through it again.
It's interesting. You know, I heard this a long time ago, and we might want to do earmuffs for this one. It says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for I am the meanest son of a bitch in the valley.
Yeah, that's about it.
And that's the attitude we have to successfully navigate this life plane. And that's certainly the attitude that we have to have if we want to successfully, you know what I'm saying?
Successfully. Yes.
Too much caffeine, navigate the afterlife path. You got to remain divine. You got to remain sovereign. You got to remain free. And my colorful metaphor earlier is really stating that very succinctly.
Yeah. I mean, I think about this more and more. That, you know, it's here that we suffer the most. It's here where we endure the pain that actually makes us stronger. So,
and there really is truth to that silly saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Because I keep on, you know, I did this video this week on demons, you know, spirits, alien invaders, or our creation.
I received an email, Wayne, that said that the dogs that we buy are friendly demons. So I want you to know your dog is a demon.
I had some,
is a demon.
I'm looking at this little tiny dog that is nothing but pure love. And and I'm thinking to myself, people think if that's a demon, well, maybe they're not all bad.
Maybe they're not. Oh, there's a concept. Are all what we call demons malevolent?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I'm beginning. Listen, there's times when, you know, a song comes in and, you know, I'll start dancing. I'll dance with my wife and I'll say this now. I don't know why I'm saying it, but I say it. I said, spirits, let's dance together.
Oh, nice.
And I sense that they really do. I mean, we start grooving and, you know, listen, I tell any couple out there, if you're not dancing together, you're not truly in love. Mm. And that's, you know, I'm just saying.
You're right. You're right. And Wayne, the spirits, the elders have always danced with us.
I think they have.
You just stopped listening to the music.
Sting has a song that talks about the Amazonian tribes. And when he went down there, he got into one of their rituals. And he said that the spirits started dancing with everybody. And it's in his, yes, you know the tune. Exactly.
Well, I'm doing this so I don't forget what I want to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Wayne, we're not dancing anymore. And the reason we're not dancing anymore goes back to the very core reason why most people dance. You dance because you're
happy.
People aren't happy anymore, brother.
They're not. They're not.
We've allowed our joy to be stolen. We've allowed our joy to be stolen. And the joy of the divine is our strength.
Yeah. Bingo.
Mm.
Enter into his courts with praise. And that's what I'm doing now. You know, the song by Brewer and Shipley, Richie Tai, and it says, I am so glad that I'm alive, spirits dancing around my head.
And they
Richie,
really are.
They really are.
Open your eyes and see. Wayne, I just got the craziest revelation yesterday or the day before. You know, they're talking about we got to have 5G because we got to have connectivity over the whole earth. Trump has got to make 5G go everywhere. And we need 5G, we need 5G, we need 5G. And Deborah L. Smith, Breaking Dawn, helped me to see that there's always been an interconnected network of communication long before there ever was an internet. There's the OG, the original generation. These trees that we look at communicate with one another. And I know there's a lot of cell towers, but are there more cell towers or are there more trees? This grass that we walk on and interact with communicates information. These rocks, these crystals contain information and they transmit and transmute information. They're talking to us. These animals that we see talk to us and share information. The scripture's full of examples of this. I did a show on this channel. So the 5G is a deception to try to get us again to be lazy, to sit back and move our mouse instead of learning how to communicate with the OG, the original generation of information. And it's not just what Mark Zuckerberg and all of these cats are going to give you on the OG. It's what the divine, the knowledge of the sapiens, the knowledge of the gods, if you will. It's all human knowledge available to us through this network. And this network's broadcasting right now. You got full bars. It doesn't cost you anything. All you got to do is listen.
While you were talking, this came to me. Isn't all prayer telepathic communication?
Yes.
We've been doing it all along, folks. They've been deceiving us by calling it prayer, whatever, but we naturally use telepathic powers even to talk to the divine.
That is our natural mode of communication. Telepathy.
Telepathically.
Mm-hmm.
That means all sapiens have it. So if we have this,
the Jays that Sanders talking about was amazing. And
what's that?
I can't tell you the amount of times, Wayne, where I pick up the phone, call Sandra. I pick up the phone to text Sandra. Yesterday, this is so weird, but until you experience it, she said something to me, and I got it a little bit later, and it literally moved me to tears. And she texts me saying, "Are you crying? I feel it." And we're 100 miles away. Well, 60 miles. Well, we're an hour's drive away. And we will get to the day when it's not just twin flames and people that are in love are in that connection, but all of us are.
You see this Sapien Summit? This is what we've got to begin to get out, get past the news media, break through these prison chains that they have erected around our thoughts and begin to enlighten people. If you believe in God, fine. If you pray, fine. But understand what you're actually doing is that you're using your natural psychic telepathic abilities.
Right. You're inbred Elohim nature. And by the way, they were there's a joy. So, and men, we got to get to the place where we're not afraid to express our emotions. That's one of the things I love about Wayne. He's not afraid to express his emotions. He cries at Disney movies.
I do, you know. I cry when I think about my wife, you know.
A real man is in touch with the feminine nature that's within him. A real woman is in touch with the masculine nature that's within her. That's one of the reasons that Sandra and I are having such a profound relationship, is I really believe, I still can't believe I'm talking about twin flames, but She is the feminine half. I am the male half, and together we are an actual, fully functional, wall-to-wall, treetop tall, 10-foot tall, bulletproof, locked and loaded being ready to change this world.
What you were saying again, it just hit me. We grow up with no one really telling us how courtship happens. You know, you like a girl, you like a guy. Mm-hmm. We're never taught that this is what we should begin to look for, because I wonder how many other twin flames simply come into this existence and go out, never fully igniting.
You know why, Wayne? This is not for everybody, but I feel like I'm supposed to share this. And I hope I'm not speaking out of school, but I feel like I'm supposed to share this. Sandra and I met 7-8 months ago when we were doing some spiritual work together. And Wayne, from the moment I saw her, she came up, we were doing it over Zoom, and she came up on the screen, and I was like, I mean, I literally had an involuntary gasp. And I knew instantly, wow, this is her. But I quickly found out that she was in a committed relationship at that time. So I immediately put up my wall and stepped back, because I don't do that. I don't go there. And she said, you know what? You know, we've talked about it and we did feel things, but she was in a relationship. So we both acted in integrity. And I went to Coral Castle some months later. She lives in the area. She met me again, fireworks, but complete and total integrity. No flirting, no touching, no kissing, integrity. Place came a little bit later where she wasn't in that relationship anymore. And then in full integrity, she says, hey, am I ever going to see you again? And boom, it only took a few days before she did. But twin flames sometimes come together in situations where they're still connected to other people. And if you don't move and live in full integrity, you're gonna screw it up. Don't get in a hurry. You've been waiting for each other for a long time. If you're a twin flame, do the right thing. If you're in a relationship, in that relationship before you take even half of a step, or you'll mess it up. It's got to be based on integrity. And if you're really twin flames, they'll wait. If you're really twin flames, by doing it in honor and integrity, that's the only way it will work out. Because was there temptations to do it another way? I know there was on my end.
Of course there is.
It would have ruined it.
It would have.
Move and live and have your being in integrity and honor, ladies and gentlemen. I remember there used to be, Wayne, in our church, we talk about, you know, act like you're supposed to act even when nobody's looking. Mm-hmm. You've got to become people like that.
And you don't need religion for that.
Religion makes it harder.
Yeah, you know, it's naturally within us. You know, I'm not going to, number one, disturb the peace of my neighbor. And that means, you know, I've got nothing I want of him other than to help and to live in peace. And that's respect. That's integrity.
Absolutely. And when you move in that integrity, you know, we all talk about the law of attraction when we're trying to get Cadillac or money or get stronger, faster. But the law of attraction works always. That's why it's called a law. So when you move in integrity, when you live in integrity, when you exude integrity, integrity is going to come back to you. Maybe not as soon as you want it to, but it's always going to work out in the end. The highway, the right way, the way of honor and integrity. Golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. But guess what? There should have been an addition. I'm going to talk to the master about this. It should be do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, even if those sons of guns don't deserve it.
By the way, while you were saying that, one person said, well, you don't believe in God anymore. I said, no, time out. You don't understand. I don't believe in the world gods. Now, I do believe in the creator of all things. And here's what I've come to understand, what's been speaking to me, is that the creator never stops creating. Never.
Wouldn't be a creator if they stopped.
Would not be exactly.
If you want to be depressed, stop creating.
Stopped creating. And that's why I think here we're breaking through. I really do. I see it happening, and it's kind of really
off in your head.
Pardon?
Jim Morrison just start playing in your head?
I got lots going on in my head.
Wayne, are you sitting there listening to music like Rex does during his shows?
No, I actually don't. I actually wear the headphones because, I know acoustics and I don't like feedback. And to avoid that.
How in the heck can he be listening to Def Leppard while he's doing his
How
show?
does he do that? I mean, I can't do that.
There's no way I can do that.
I can't. It's important that when you speak that I am actively listening.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I say exactly. Say what? So while we're talking on this, because I'm reliving this conversation yesterday, I think one of my biggest things when the Sapien Summit comes off, and it will probably be in 2019, one of the indictments that I believe has to be brought against the gods here is the incursion of this alien species into our species. Your thoughts on that? Because to me, that's the biggest, and I'll just finish it out. If you read the book of Enoch, you find out that Gabriel and Michael go to God and says, hey, dude, are you aware of what's going on down there? It's a freaking train wreck.
Yeah.
And I think that is the single indictment that I have against this deity right now.
Is that they allowed extraterrestrial beings to
contaminate our bloodline and very well contaminate the timeline. And this is what I've been reading. This is what they're trying to do with technology, is get us back on the right timeline. But anyway, I digress.
That's very interesting. I'm not a big ET guy. I'm not a big alien guy. What you say makes sense. And it certainly is, I think, a possibility. And it's definitely an egregious wrong. Is it the most egregious? I don't know if I would go there with you, but it's definitely an egregious wrong that needs to be addressed. And whether they are ET, whether they're interdimensional, whether they're archonic, have been beings, and I agree with you, there have been beings have been allowed to come in and terrorize the human race.
Yes.
And the God that was in charge, the God of this world, stood by and watched.
Yes.
I think he opened the door, invited him in, and he's working with them. So yes, I would agree with you. That is the most egregious thing that we could bring against this God, or at least one of the main charges.
It's the one thing that someone said to me one time, well, Wayne, you seem kind of angry. And I said, this really does piss me off. I mean, the garden story, I can dig that. I can dig the whole thing behind that. I get it. But if this did happen, which there apparently is evidence something happened, it ruined us.
Wayne, I can't help but believe as I learn more about the trees and I read that Genesis story again, I really think that the tree, the knowledge of good and evil, was actually talking to man. They were having conversations. Because if you read it,
good. You're saying the tree was actually talking.
They were going to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the tree was communicating information to them.
Why not?
Yahweh says, wait a second, they're already consuming the fruit. If you get into the Hebrew, it means they were talking to this tree. We can't allow them to talk to the tree of life, because then. And remember what the tree of knowledge of good and evil told him about. It told him about the glorious nature of the true deity and the fallen of the untrue deity. So the tree of knowledge of good and evil was telling them about what was right and what was wrong. And he's like, oh no, they know now who I am. If we allow them to start talking to that tree of life, then we're really in trouble. That's why I think he tried to burn down the garden. It says he put a flaming sword.
Yeah.
He tried to torch it, Wayne, and burn down the garden. And ever since then, they've gone out of the way to talk to us and tell us how stupid we are if we want to talk to trees. I think the tree of knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life really talked to us in the Garden of Eden.
Why not? I mean, many cultures believe that there are spirits into everything, particularly trees, longest living spirits.
Yeah.
I had never saw that point of view. Excellent point of view on that.
This is the kind of stuff.
I love that.
This is the kind of stuff that is happening in my life, and you're going to get a little background noise as the house wakes up, but it's good noise. It's happy noise.
That's happy noise. That's kids. That's joy. You know, that's excitement. That's a spirit expressing itself.
And you know what, Wayne? People that are successful in life treat life like it's a game. Skip, they play, they have fun. They don't take things serious. The more seriously you take things, the harder life is. Life is a game. Play it. Remember you're young. Remember your youth. You're a young spirit. You're a young being. Skip. Laugh.
You just took the word right out of my head. When's the last time anyone, let's take a poll right now, 114 people watching. When's the last time anyone, be honest, you actually went out and skipped? Come on.
Wayne Steiger, yesterday, the day before, I was in the grocery store with Sandra D'Angelo and her daughter. And in front of me, they all skipped down the aisle and I skipped behind them.
See? You know what I do when I went to the store the other day?
About a month ago. When's the last
skipping.
Time? What is it about skipping, Wayne? It's just the purest expression of fun and joy and silliness. It's not taking yourself seriously.
See, I see some that are saying decades. Sherry, I see you said yesterday. Folks, learn. I don't care. I'm approaching 23,000 days on this planet, Jeff. You're about to hit, you'd be kind of behind me a little bit on that. So you see, actually, you would be a little bit behind. But the point is, we've lost that ability to laugh.
I think we should skip daily.
I think we should. I think you should. And I think that this is what begins to change the spirit. I tell you, my spirit.
Even if we're doing middle-aged white guy dancing, that's okay.
Hey, listen, you know, I was really pretty good at the disco era. I actually went through the disco era and, you know. I
could see Wayne in a white leisure suit, red shirt.
Actually, I had hair down to here and, yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, I enjoyed it. You know,
you were more headbanging.
You know what? I was trained in classical music. I played the clarinet, the bassoon, and the flute.
I played the radio growing up.
And I've always loved music. I love the vibration. And I'll say this, Mr. Foster, who was my band teacher in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, was a man who passed on magic. Because that's what he passed on to the students was the magic of music.
He's passing on alchemy to you.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And you know, when I listen in on Halo, you know, here's a guy. Here are alchemists now coming to the surface and beginning to explain to us that we live and we're all practicing alchemy.
We are.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it consciously or not? That's the only question.
Yeah. And I love these new awakenings of this vibration. I felt it back in the times when I would go. I lived in a commune for a while. And hey, Daniel, that's cool. And I learned something there. I took it with me. You know, it was the best time of my life. It was a magical moment because what I saw was the ability of sapiens coming together.
Right.
So, yep. We just saw someone.
Yeah, that was Sandra. She's like, I gotta go. I'm sorry, I gotta
go. And Daniel, I agree with you. We need to dance. I tell you, folks, learn to dance. Man,
you have to learn. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah, you don't have to learn. It's there.
It's an old saying. I don't want to do that because I don't know how to do it. The old saying is, do the thing and you'll get the power.
Yes, yes. Gary Baxter he visits here and he's in our room over on my channel. He grew up on the hog farm from Woodstock.
Wow.
And you know, this is like I told him, I said, you're my favorite hero. But
that's awesome.
If we could just do this, I tell you, this has been a very uplifting show, Jeff. It has just been.
I do need to bring it to a close if that's all right with you.
No, I understand. You got a house full there. Much love to everyone out there. Jeff, let's continue to grow together, and we'll see you during the week or
I just hope that people will listen to this and they'll understand and get us, because there's a lot of sad people, there's a lot of lonely people, there's a lot of people that are about ready to give up. And I hope you've listened to this and realized that there's no reason for you to give up. You've come too far to turn back now. And the only way that you lose is if you quit. We're here for you. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. And I guarantee you that there's far more people in the etheric realm that are here to help you than to hurt you. Don't give up. Don't quit. Never give up. Never surrender. You are on a galaxy quest. And I've read the last page in a lot of the books. And I can tell you, in the name of R. Wayne Steiger, you're going to make it.
We are going to make it. I just want to add to what you just said, folks. When you dance, the spirits will dance with you. And guess what? They'll protect you because Absolutely. You're giving the energy that they're looking for. I know I got them around me at times. I can almost sense that they're literally, I can see them. And they got smiles.
It's an advanced practice, but you don't want to be vampirized by a spirit, but it is possible when you get it right to become allies with the spirit and have some mutually beneficial quid pro quo.
Yeah. So smile.
Maybe we'll talk about that sometime, Wayne.
We'll do that. Let's do that.
Absolutely. Thank you, my friend. I'm proud to call you my friend.
You are my friend.
All of you, my friends, and we will see you again real soon. For my friend Wayne Steiger, we're going to end this. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty. This has been the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. Please go to R. Wayne Steiger and subscribe. Please go to Sandra D. Angelo and subscribe. And go look at my page. It says Dream Channel subscribe. Subscribe to all of them. Let's build this thing by building one another.
Peace, my friend.